in the midst of the battle, I'm screaming no more war. 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 Maybe it's all in my head. Maybe I'm asleep in my bed. But the reality is, in the midst of the battle, I'm screaming no more war. But the reality is, in the midst of the battle, I'm screaming no more war. Lord, do you hear me? I need you, we need you here. Lord, do you hear me? I need you, we need you here. Lord, do you hear me? I need you. Oh Lord, we need you. Oh Lord, we need you. Oh Lord, do you hear me? I need you, we need you, yeah. Lord, do you hear me? I need you, we need you, yeah. Lord, do you hear me? Lord, do you hear me calling? Lord, we need you. Cause maybe it's all in my head. Maybe I'm asleep in my bed. But the reality is, I'm screaming no in the midst of the battle, I'm screaming no more. Maybe it's all in my head. I'm asleep in my bed, but the reality is, in the midst of the battle, I'm Y'all, we're going to listen to it one more time. This is No More War by Tayshawn Blandon. And then I am bringing to you the lady of the hour. And baby, is she smoking. She's smoking. Guys, listen to the words. Just listen to what Tayshawn is saying. There's something wrong that she's not going right. Let's put it all on the table. Get to the bottom line. Things are about to ignite, just in a matter of time. And it is vivid to stay, but you can't see the signs of a no. How many hits can we take till we can't take more? Prove it to you even the score, to the point where fear is knocking at doors. Bang, bang, hit the floor. But maybe it's all in my head. Maybe I'm asleep in my bed. But the reality is, in the midst of the battle, I'm screaming no more war. And guys, it is the noon hour, but we're going to listen to this one more time as we prepare for the lady of the hour. Maybe it's all in my head. Maybe I'm asleep in my bed. But the reality is, in the midst of the battle, I'm screaming no more. But the reality is, in the midst of the battle, I'm screaming no more. Lord, do you hear me? Yes, listen to what he's saying. Lord, do you hear me? I need you, we need you. Lord, do you hear me? I need you. Oh Lord, we need you. Oh Lord, we need you. Oh Lord, do you hear me? I need you, we need you, yeah. Lord, do you hear me? I need you, we need you, yeah. Lord, do you hear me? Lord, do you hear me calling? Lord, we need you. Whoa. Cause maybe it's only my head. Maybe I'm asleep in my bed.
The reality is, in the midst of the battle, war, no more war.
It's all in my head.
Y'all, it's time to bring it down. It's time to bring it down. What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? You already know what time it is. It's your girl, Lillie Mae, and it is prime time on Saturday. And guys, look, this young lady that I'm bringing on to you today is spectacular. She is more than a celebrity in my eyes. She is someone whom I have studied, right? She is what I call a study in industry leadership. And although she hails from the disc jockey side of things, I like to call her one of the leading ladies because she's different, right? She's different. And what I'm going to do, without further ado, I am going to present to you DJ RootsQueen.
Hey!
Hey there!
Hey, man, you know what? I'm in Atlanta, so I am on like 3 hours of sleep right now. We could barely sleep last night. We have so much going on in the city. It's exciting. I know a lot of people aren't with the destruction of property and stuff like that, but me when I was in my 20s, my younger self would have been all up in there. I thought I was some type of activist, like for real. I would have been like an Antifa or something. We are just tired of it. It's like, and I woke up at first I was like, oh my gosh, not Atlanta. This is, Wakanda. This is the place. But at the end of the day, the more and more that I think about it, it's like we tried marching peacefully. We tried taking a knee. We did all of these things and nobody listened and they mocked us and made fun of us and they said awful things about the people that do support Black Lives Matter that aren't Black. They said, you know what I'm saying? So I guess if this is what it's going to take for y'all to stop killing Black people, then so be it. Because at the end of the day, all these businesses have insurance and they can be replaced. You know what I mean? They're still out there right now. So, as media, we're forbidden to march, but we are allowed to cover. So we are just, we have our photographers down there. We're just, trying to keep, in check and in tune with everything that's going on. So that way we know what's going on when it's time for us to have our conversations and stuff and speak, So.
Well, DJ RootsQueen, look.
Mm-hmm.
I already know we're going to talk about this.
Yeah.
But before we get into what I know we're going to talk about, and I'm so glad you are sitting with me. Number one, let me bow to the Queen. Because your authenticity, your expeditious response, and your direct, straightforward demeanor in a male-dominated industry, I love.
Thank you.
You are my sister.
Yeah, you know it.
Because we share the same blood, straight up, right? Let's go. Let's just jump in. I don't want this to be formal. I want this to be very informal.
Oh, yeah.
I know you're from Tampa.
Right.
So I want to first talk about your transition, your start in Tampa and your transition to Atlanta.
Okay. Okay. Well, I moved here to go to college.
Mm-hmm.
That was why I initially moved here. It was a city that wasn't my city. I knew that I needed to leave my city. I felt like I don't know what it was that made me want to leave my city so bad, but I just wanted to get out of there. It was mainly a lot of it had to do with temperature. It was very, very, very hot, very hot. Not that it, I mean, they call it hot, cheesy people call it hot Atlanta, and it is still hot up here, but we at least have like a little seasons. You know what I mean? I was just honestly ready for something different, so I came here to go to college. I did not finish. I dropped out because I started getting a lot of DJ gigs and stuff like that. So that's how that happened. And I've been here since 2001. So my entire adult life, from when I, started college, has been in Atlanta. So, I've been here since I was a teenager, pretty much.
So, all right, you already know, guys. Once again, this is DJ RootsQueen, and we are rocking with Prime Time on Saturday with your girl Lillie Mae. Now, you started spinning when you were 17, right?
Mm-hmm.
And girl, the first thing I saw was she was DJing fashion shows. Okay.
I did, yeah.
But you highlighted artist showcases, right? And so tell me a little bit about what artist showcases look like when you first started and what they look like now.
Okay. Well, first of all, I didn't really do a lot of artist showcase when I first started. The artist showcases really happened when I started DJ, when I went back to work after having a baby. That was in 2010, 2011. That's when that happened. And it was very long, hot. It wasn't for a lot of money. I got dragged by a lot of artists back then. But honestly, it really set the tone to help me be able to, if you can manage a stage and you can manage 10 dudes, play my song, people trying to trick you into performing and all kinds of stuff. If you can manage that and put it together, I think that's really where I got my training to be vocal and be a leader is being like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
now, before you go on, the difference between the showcases then and now, it's not a lot of difference. They still do all the same stuff. Not a lot.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So, all right, you said you got drugged. Tell me a little bit about what that means.
Well, it would just be hot, really long hours. It would be artist after artist after artist. Just a lot of people. I didn't know. It wasn't that I got drugged. It was that I did not realize that the event was going to be turned into a showcase. That would happen a lot of times into a showcase. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah. They would kind of trick you because back then a lot of DJs didn't really want to do that. But those kind of things is why DJs and people that perform and people that put together events for these indie artists that are dying to perform.
Absolutely.
For it. What do you think that we're going to get out there and be hot and have you drag us and get frustrated with us and all this stuff for free? No, honey. Mm-mm. You got to put some coins in the pocket.
Coins?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. So went to college 2001. You started spinning. You went to Atlanta. And then 12 years later, you DJing for Young Jeezy's brand.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah. It was crazy.
But I want to highlight that 12 years before we talk about that.
Okay.
Because my thing is, I struggle with these artists today. They don't want to go through the process. They want to put money out and think they're going to buy their way. They don't want to go through the process. And see, for me, I talk artist business development. Mm-hmm. I could care less about your music if you don't understand the business. So talk about that 12-year span and how you got from just spinning to being that
Oh,
DJ.
goodness. Okay, so yeah, that's like a whole story. There's a reason I leave that part out of my story. It's a really, really interesting part. It's just,
Okay.
I don't want to like age myself.
Backstory.
I tell people that I've been spinning for over a decade. That's what I say. I don't say 23 years. So, but shh, don't tell them. I'm just kidding. I'm like live on. Okay, so basically I DJ'd and toured with Dinko D from Leaders of the New School. And I also had several different reggae bands that I toured with. And I was working with Slum Villages and DJ House Shoes' band called Gorilla Funk Mob in Detroit. So I did a lot of traveling. A lot of that was on vinyl. A lot of that was very...
What vinyl?
A lot of that was more of like I don't want to say independent or conscious hip hop, but it was more like a New York, Slum Village, Tribe Called Quest type of vibe and type of crowd. That was like the audience. It wasn't like Young Jeezy and T.I. and like all of that stuff. That manifested just from being in Atlanta, and a lot of I don't know. It just came from being in Atlanta and the people that were hiring me. That was just where everything got everything got taken to, because during that time, that 12 years, I mean, I was spinning a lot of dance hall 45s. I was doing like MJQ in Atlanta, stuff like that. But I kind of like grew out of that. But that was the era that I was talking about where I was really, really radical in my beliefs. Like,
wow. Okay.
So yeah, if they would have had, see now, like I said, being in media and stuff like that, and being a public figure, I have to behave in a certain way. You know what I mean? But back then, I would have been all over that yesterday. Woo. Or today.
But let's plug that right there.
Okay.
So, I concur with you in that last night they got lit by my alma mater, VCU, go Rams. And for real, had this been 2010, I would have been out there. I would have been climbing light poles and shutting it down.
I know, but now I'm like, oh my gosh, there's COVID.
A lot of people don't understand that.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of people don't understand that. That's why I come here to speak my piece. And so one of the things that I feel like we have to continue to do as public figures is say, listen, we hear you, baby. We see you. Right.
We support it. Yeah, exactly. And this
is an intelligent way to do anything.
Yeah, and this is the Gen Z talking, and they're young, and they're angry, and they have every right to be.
They do.
And every right to be. So, like I said, we tried to kneel, we tried to march, we tried to do all of these things, we tried to speak on it, and nobody listened, and they just mocked us. So, But I was really lucky though, because also during that 12-year span, I was around a lot of really progressive people, and I had a lot of conversations and was really educated with members of Nation of Islam and stuff like that, and Black women and all different kinds of people. They accepted me and loved me like so much that they loved me more than when I was growing up. White people were so mean to me, very, very, very mean to me. The first time that I ever really felt loved or accepted or family with anybody was with Black women. And so I thank y'all for that. That means so much to me, because with all of the things that have happened in history over the past more than even 400 years, you guys don't even owe anybody shit. You know what I mean? So it's just amazing that you guys are still just so loving and accepting, and especially if somebody like me that,
I received that. Let me ask you this though. And I like to make connections because I am a lifespan theorist, and I also believe a lot in parenting. I believe a lot in attachment styles and parenting styles, and that's how I form my theoretical worldview. So my question for you is, how did you grow up? How did you grow up? What type of neighborhood, what type of family type situation?
Okay, I got you. Well, my parents were hippies. We grew up very poor. I come from a trailer park, pretty much. I grew up in a trailer. So, I didn't grow up privileged or rich or anything. I mean, of course, I understand that being white gives me a different privilege, but as far as like the kind of privilege that these Ivy League people and the nepotism, like I didn't have any of that. I was exceedingly better looking than a lot of the other girls that I grew up with, and they were very freaking mad about it. Very mad.
Absolutely. Because you didn't have to pay to be pretty. You didn't have to pay to be pretty. You were born like that.
And they were mad.
Let me ask you a question. Yeah. While you're answering, I want to throw this out there. Because this is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing you say that you acknowledge that you do have some form of privilege because of your skin tone.
Right.
But you're also acknowledging that you weren't received in your own community because class-wise,
right,
you get the score.
Oppression and racism are two different things. Oppression makes people be able to have the type of empathy towards people that experience systematic racism.
Ooh. Speak.
Yeah. So that being said, my best friend, she was Jamaican. I'm from Tampa, so you get the reggae music. It's been in me since I was taking me to reggae concerts and everything. So she was Jamaican, and her mother when we were in 5th grade, her mother made us watch Imitation of Life. Have you ever seen that movie?
I have not.
You have to see that movie, and it changed my life. I urge anybody that is watching this to make sure that you go check out the movie. The backstory, it's about a white woman and her daughter, and they have a lady, a black woman that lives with them that works for their household, and she has a mixed daughter. And it's about the white girl and the mixed daughter growing up together. And when the mixed girl grows up, she tries to hide her blackness. You know what I mean? It doesn't have nothing to do with her mother. And it's just about those type of hard lessons. And the thing about it, though, she wasn't like that. She was paid very well. Like the white woman, like really did a lot to take care of the mother, pay for her funeral, like everything. You know what I'm saying? This movie came out in the 1950s. It was one of the first color movies, like that was Technicolor. Yeah. So but that changed me, and it gave me just a different perspective on things. I was never one of those bratty and snotty, like stuck up girls. I always was friends with the underdog or the person that was like nerdy or had eczema or was overweight or didn't look like anybody else. Because
that's why we friends. Because I hold strong to obesity. I understand that I was not born to be underweight or normal weight. Right. I was born to be some form of obese. So, but look, you know what, guys? Once again, if you're just now checking in, this is Prime Time with the girl Lillie Mae and DJ RootsQueen. And let me tell you something. She has the right name, Roots and Queen, because she understands her roots, but she understands the roots of people who are oppressed and who are sufferers of racism. And I love the fact that she has made sure to operationalize the fact that oppression and racism are so different. One group of people may be oppressed, but another group of people may suffer both or one or the other. And so I think that we really need to describe that.
Well, the thing about it is too, is that, when you see stuff like that going on and you see how much it hurts people, it's like you want to let the world know that you don't get down like that. You know what I'm saying? You got to, and you want to be vocal about it. And I'm really, really proud of Atlanta and the white people here and the people on my timeline, because there was a lot of white people out there protesting, like a lot. Yeah. But they were not social distancing. I'm really worried. That's the one thing I am really worried about, is what's going to happen in 2 weeks.
You know something though? We just opened here in Richmond. We just opened yesterday. And I'm gonna tell you what my issue was, and then help me, because I'm looking to you to balance me out a little bit.
Okay.
So I saw what you saw. I saw. Let me tell you what I saw though. I saw a lot of chains of white women. Like, we the barrier. Y'all do what y'all need to do back there. And I was like, solidarity come through.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what else I saw that pissed me off, and I went off on my peers about it?
Mm-hmm.
The twerking, the bumping Boosie and Nuck if you buck and all of that in the background. I get it, but I was not. See, I'm a different. Even though I'm a millennial,
Mm-hmm.
I was raised by parents who should have birthed baby boomers, but they waited late in life to have children.
Right.
So I'm still a little bit conservative
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to protest because I know that my mother was one of those people that were washed, when they were washing people with fire hoses and sicking dogs on people. So
Mm-hmm.
to me, it was making a mockery
Right.
of the cause out there shaking your ass
Mm-hmm.
and turning up in the midst of a protest.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
so
I feel that. I can.
bothered me a little bit.
We didn't really have too much of that in Atlanta. But
Girl,
not people fight. And then I can say that on Facebook when I'm reading comments and threads, it's just like it's like white people are never ever going to be happy with any type of form of protest about Black lives, and Black people are never going to be all the way happy. Certain Black people are not ever going to be all the way happy with white people's response to it. You know what I mean? They're either not doing enough or they're caping too hard. It's like, make up your mind. What do you want us to do? You want us to speak out? Oh wait, we're not allowed to speak on it. We're supposed to just be quiet and just observe and learn. But then if we don't say anything, they're like, you didn't say anything. Like, I'm like, come on, man.
look,
We're trying.
but no, and you know what? I saw these are the two terms that I think that I'm really in my heart. I want to research it, and I want to research it relative to anxiety and depression.
Mm-hmm.
I want to research anxiety and depression as a result of slavery, the traumatic effects of slavery, but also I'm going to research anxiety and depression as a result of white privilege and or white guilt. Think about it.
Yeah.
Just think about how Gen Z, they could be suffering with anxiety and depression as a direct result of all of these things hitting them. And now it's interconnecting and intersecting because Gen Z don't give a doggone about the surface.
Yeah. And then,
Unless they were taught to.
the more and more that you learn about how horrible European colonizing countries treated Africa, Rhodesia, Zimbabwe, well, that's the same thing. It's just like they literally erased the history. They didn't think that the archaeology was important. They freaking destroyed it. You got to think about King Leopold and like how long and awful this stuff has been going on, and just what I mean. There has to be some type of ancestral DNA, something in the ancestral DNA, because it's just crazy. And then, what is that lady's name? Have you ever seen that white lady speak? Her name is Jane something. She's like a anti-racist.
I know exactly who you talking about. The one is she like a professor and she does like I always call it shock therapy for her students.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. She got like white hair, short hair. The stuff that she talks about.
Yes, I cannot think of her name, but I know who you're talking about. I know exactly who you're talking
about. Always exists. It's like a new thing. But and then also the other thing too is that like I am such a nerd. I've done a lot of studying about the actual like human path that we took for DNA, and the DNA of people from 5,000 generations ago that come from like different areas. Mine comes from my lineage is Eurasian and Swedish.
Oh, okay.
So, but still, you have to understand that is a shorter lineage than people that come directly from Africa. You know what I'm saying? It's just like a different branch. And to sit there and think that you're superior when your DNA isn't even as old and isn't even original. You know what I'm saying? It's just insanity to me.
Okay, let's shift because we're gonna have a conversation.
It's like embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. It's like,
but you know what? Well, I feel like with all this contouring that my makeup artist did, shout out Janine Nicole. Me and you look like the day for real.
I would have to put my glitter on. I saw your glitter when you posted on IG. I was like,
oh, hold on. All right, so let's jump back to the music and shout out to Trina McLaughlin. She's in Danville, Virginia,
Okay.
and that's in town. And so last night when I was speaking, I spoke about my experience. Cause see, unlike you, I grew up privileged. I
Okay.
grew up in a what? Just well to say 6 bedroom brick rancher in
Mhm.
the middle of a neighborhood that used to be predominantly white, but by the time, baby, my parents had me when they were old enough to be grandparents. So by the time, my brother and I were born, like the neighborhood was different.
Mhm.
And so, we had a boat and 4 wheelers in the city, right?
Mhm.
So I grew up privileged, so I could sit at tables that
Mhm.
some of my blood relatives couldn't sit at. You follow me?
Yeah. Yeah.
However, I experienced this thing called racism early in 5th grade when I was the only little black girl
Mhm.
in a AG classroom, which was academically gifted. And basically, the teacher, and it scarred me. I'm gonna tell you straight up, it scarred me. My
Mhm.
teacher said to me for Black History Month, you don't need to do a Black History project. You're gonna do yours on Native American history.
Mhm.
Now, I didn't get it until I went home and said it to my mom, who
Mhm.
at the time, it was like 1990. So my mother was probably like 52 years old, right?
Mhm.
And I said, well, mommy, I'm not doing a Black History Project this month. I'm doing a Native American. And my mama looked at me like, why? I don't know. My teacher said it. Girl, how fast my mama went up to that
I knew
school.
you was about to say that.
But the difference with Betty Lou going to the school and my peers' mamas going to the school is that number one, my mother was older.
Mhm.
Number two, she worked in the cafeteria when the current principal was a student.
Mhm.
So she went to the school already knowing the type of principal that the principal and the teacher were probably going to be on the same page.
Right. Mhm.
But she presented herself such that I don't appreciate this.
Right.
She has a parent that understands the times in which you guys grew up,
Mhm.
and I'm not standing for it. Now she's going to do this Native American History Project just because she feels this is what she was assigned to do, but you will never, ever discriminate against my child again. When we got home and she explained that to me, what happened,
Mhm.
I swore I would never take another advanced class a day in my life because I was going to come up against teachers like that. And do you know, until I went to college, I really didn't want to challenge myself. That
Mhm.
lady scarred me.
Mhm.
Ironically, when I finished graduate school and went back home and worked for the public school system there, she was still teaching.
Mhm.
And she had to look me in my face like, oh, I'm a part of the reason you made it here. Girl, I wanted to be bleh, but I didn't. I said, you were one of the educators who
Mhm.
truly shaped and molded me.
See, now that's the thing about me. The grade that you were in 5th grade. See, I would have been like the person that came in and put my arm around you and been your friend because that's my parents raised me. Because my parents were hippies. So, and my grandmother, she was a doctor. See, okay, that's another thing. Now, my grandmother was a doctor. Okay,
Okay.
she was one of the first women. Like she was a doctor in the 1950s, and she was a medical director of a hospital that she systematically helped shut down because of the way that they treated developmentally disabled people. And she
Oh,
was
you got activist blood.
advocates of the theory of normalcy. Just because you can't do everything doesn't mean that you can't do anything. So I guess like being around um, a lot of people that, I mean, gosh, you think that the most disenfranchised people on the planet, to be honest, outside of Black people, is people with Down syndrome and cerebral
Yes.
palsy, and you know what I'm saying. So I guess that's probably where it comes from too. But yeah, so that's why I was always taught to like help. I would see how hurt those people would be when people would make fun of them, and you know what I'm saying. It's just
Mm-hmm.
I was
I
raised
understand.
I was raised the right way, I guess.
And you know what? You were. because I don't care what anybody say. There is a right way and a wrong way to raise children. But all right, girl, because we can go off on this all day. But let's come back to
Okay.
DJ Queen
Okay.
because I feel like our activism conversations, we're talking to Anne because
Yeah.
that's who you born.
Right. Right. Right.
But let's talk about DJ Roots Queen and Woo Girl Radio and what is it? Is it Zaytoven?
Zaytoven. You don't know who Zaytoven is, girl?
Like, no.
Okay, he produced. Let me tell you some songs that he produced. He produced "So Icy" by Gucci Mane. He produced Beast Mode 1 and 2. He
Okay.
Yeah, he produced. Yeah, he's like he's like Metro Boomin or Sunny Digital or actually Mike Will or anything. He came before a lot of those people, but he's still very relevant. Yeah, you think I'm a celebrity? That's the real celebrity. They call for Zaytoven every day. I just work for him.
So we're gonna have to get him. We'll get him up here to talk about his process, because that's the thing. Your process is what amazes me, and I love it. And I know there's so much more that I'm gonna learn because, guys, I'm gonna put it out there. I'm studying her. I'm studying her. And I know there's gonna be a lot of backlash, but y'all know publicly, I really don't care because for me, our spirits have to connect for me to be able to study under you. And I already know that there is a spirit of authenticity, there is a spirit of activism, but there is a spirit of perfection there. And I love it. But anyway, back to you.
That's what Rude Girl Radio is about. It's like being a bad girl, being a rude girl, it's like pushing the limit. Well, really, the spirit of the Rude Girl really comes from. It's really something that comes from the UK more so even than Jamaica, because of the whole ska and rocksteady movement, and basically growing up around all that and being just a huge reggae fan. That's like my favorite music to play, my favorite parties to go to and everything. I toured. I've freaking DJ'd and opened for Third World before. I've done a lot of major stuff. I don't want to say household name, but a lot like in Jamaica, a lot of people know who I am. A lot of the artists, especially. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, like when I go live and I'm playing reggae music, it's all like Jamaican dancehall artists that are all verified. Like big up RootsQueen, you know what I'm saying? So it's like amazing. And the women, I work with a lot of the female reggae artists, and now I'm working with a lot of African and independent Spanish artists and stuff too, which I love. Like I'm really, really down for anything that's independent. Okay, so back to the Rude Girl thing. It's living in your truth and not having to censor yourself or quiet. You know what I'm saying? It's like it means a lot of different things. You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's crazy. I love it. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I said it's definitely an aesthetic. So if you just look up. And then along like before, I used to really like dress up as a pinup girl and have like the whole checkered thing going on. We had all these photo shoots and stuff. It was crazy. It was so much fun.
That's why I use the picture that I used as the cover for Boosting the Live, because I was like, I just love her with that updo. I just love it. The place. I love it.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that you said you like you really working with the Spanish and the African music. And I want to shout out Sky 4 Records in Atlanta because they have two artists. Los Diggity. Shout out to Los Diggity, who hails from Tampa, and Odin Gibson, who is in Atlanta. And the both of them are doing awesome things. But what's interesting to me? It's funny to me that even though they are doing spectacular things, mainstream really doesn't support that. And I want to know your take on that. Why is it that rap is commercialized, but rap in the sense, to me, the most non-conceptualized songs get the most boom. No concept. I need some substance.
I know, and I'm going to tell you why. And it's because It's because of the people that are listening to it and the album sales. That's what it's got to do with. If people listen to that, and then the labels would back and put money behind it, but they don't. You know what I'm saying? You every once in a while you get a J. Cole or Kendrick Lamar or Joyner Lucas and stuff like that. But these kids, these Gen Z, I don't know. They're tired of. I think that they're tired of being proper and everything like that. You have to remember. I remember what I was like when I was that age. I was
absolutely
dangerous and stuff like that. And, and especially me. I work with a lot of these labels. I work for a label and I help and I find these artists. And I'm telling you what, like my favorite, and I get it. Like I try to put myself in the shoes of an 18-year-old kid. And they want to be reckless. It's like they have their whole life being in school and having to behave a certain type of way, and they just want to be reckless. So for me, like when I look for an artist, like that's awful, but like the more like ignorant and reckless they are, it's like I don't know. It's like the more that I want to work with them. But I'm gonna tell you why. It has more to do with just their fan base and the kids liking them. It's that I feel like Zaytoven, myself, my manager, Roland, I feel like we could really get in there and give them a little bit of direction. You know what I'm saying? And be a good example. So there is something a little bit more to it. And those are the people that really need our help, whether they listen or not. I mean, Banco Fresh, that's one of the people that didn't really listen. And then, but yeah, we worked with Banco Fresh from the very, very beginning. So that's another thing too, is if you want to know how heartbreaking it is to have a young artist die to gun violence, it's traumatizing. So,
guys, if you're just now checking in, we are sitting down with DJ RootsQueen, and we're going to spend, about 10 or 15 more minutes talking about her. And I need you guys to understand something. When I'm sitting down talking to public figures and global influencers, because she's not a public figure. I'm sorry, you're a global influence. And I think I want you to understand that she's Anne. That's her name. But she's DJ RootsQueen as well. And you need to understand the difference. Even though we have these personalities, and I embrace multiple personalities when it comes to this, you have to understand that there comes a time when we have to compartmentalize to truly be able to exist in a world that is waiting to shoot us down as women, right? And so, bring me to Super Bowl 53, though. Tell me about Super Bowl 53, because what?
Oh yeah, that was freaking amazing. Like my manager really, really put that together. It was an amazing experience to be able to be like DJing on the same stage as Future. Well, I've DJed on stage with Future a lot, but I've been working with free bands from like 7 or 8 years. But to be out there, Diplo, Jamie Foxx, Yo Gotti. I've been on stage with Yo Gotti too, so a lot of it is just really normal, but it was still just really, really an amazing experience. And they gifted us with a bottle of 1942, so that was amazing. Yeah, that was amazing and definitely a highlight of my career. And that was one of the main things. One of my main goals for 2019 was to get press. And instead of hiring PR, I was like determined to attract the press organically, and I did that at the Revolt, rolling out Billboard. It was crazy. It was, and I can honestly say that without being signed to a label like Familiar Territory Records and have them being so loyal and treating me like family like that. Like without that, I would be unsung and underrated and everything like that. So it just takes one person or one group to really take you seriously. And I could say that the Coalition DJs, I've been with them for 5 years. Like they've done a lot too.
Really?
Oh yeah. they're the ones that introduced me to Future. You know what I'm saying? I knew Zaytoven before I knew them, though. But still,
And it's so interesting. I was speaking to somebody, and they were saying, they were talking about coalition DJs, just saying that a lot of times they are da 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 da. And but you're like the third DJ I've heard to say that coalition DJs have really been helpful. So I definitely, I'm also learning that in the industry, there are a lot of people that have knowledge, but they may have dated knowledge, they may have limited knowledge, and they may just have tertiary knowledge, which can sometimes be dangerous.
Well,
so how do you keep yourself current? Like, what are some of the things that you use to keep yourself current?
Okay, well, depending on what type of knowledge that it is that I make sure that I stay linked in with the young folk for sure. Like people in their early 20s and stuff. One of my hosts on my show, one of my co-hosts, she is 22 or she's 22, and then my other one is 27. But just reaching out to women. Like last year in October, I was a part of Earth Girl Camp with Molly from Tree Sound. And I met a lot of different women there, and we were able to connect from there. But the other way that I do it outside of culturally, but with the business, is that I went back to school.
Yeah.
And I'm getting a bachelor's degree right now in digital marketing. And I don't know what's going to happen with the market when I graduate in November, so I'm probably just going to go ahead and get my master's degree too. It's like one more year for the master's degree. I go to Full Sail. It's amazing. When I get off here, I got to study. But it's
look, let me tell you something. Please repeat what you're doing. And after you repeat it, I'm going to tell you why. Because right now I have to look to the hills from whence cometh my help, because you just spoke a word. You're doing what right now?
I went back to school. I told you before that I did not finish school. I realize now why, because the business degree, I was going to get a business degree and an art degree, but that would not have helped me on my journey. What I'm going to school for now did not exist back then. And this is my calling. Digital marketing is my calling, because what is the point of me being able to create and do all of these amazing things? What is the point of everybody around me being able to do all these amazing things and create all this wonderful art if nobody's going to know about it? That's why I made tackling real marketing, not just these people that think they're marketing because they make a post on Facebook. It's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Google Analytics, freaking affiliate marketing. I'm talking about Google Search Console, like the stuff that the real, this is going to sound like meat and potatoes. You know what I mean? One of those like business meeting terms.
Come forth with the entree.
Yeah. And it's just like people really think that they know about it. I hear a lot of people, especially on Facebook, they try to diss college, saying that they didn't take anything that they learned from college and they don't apply it to the regular life. And I'm like, then you made a mistake and didn't choose the right degree program or something, because honey, having a bachelor's degree or not is the difference in making $1 million in your lifetime. And I knew that before. And it was just like, I don't know, like I just came to this point to where I just could not get over the hump and figure out exactly what it was that I needed to do. My manager was like, you need to do this, you need to do that. And I was like, you know what? I need to be classically trained in this if I'm going to really, really get ahead. And also, I've been DJing for so long that, I want to be able to be a bigger asset to my own label, or I might want to, when I'm 50 or something like that, 55, I might want to go work for a different firm or and be in a different part of the marketing industry. It doesn't necessarily always have to be music for me. You know what I mean? People can do, that's another thing too. People expect DJs. It's like, oh, you're not DJing anymore. Like you're some kind of failure. People are allowed to want to do other things. DJing is extremely easy to do. Well, I mean, it's not for some people, but for me, when you've been doing it as long as I can, it's like you need something more challenging after a while.
You do. Baby, let me tell you something. And studies have shown this. Millennials and Gen Z gonna be even worse, because they don't even want to work for anybody. But we stay in careers 3 to 5 years and then we move. And I'm a living witness. Because I went from corrections to public administration to education, and now I'm in behavioral health. But I know that this is going to be my end because now I can put all of these things together. Because you know what I've realized?
Mm-hmm.
Every artist needs a therapist.
Mm-hmm. They do. They do. I provide stuff like that too. You know, I do a lot for these artists out here.
And for me, shout out to my mentors and in therapy in the field of
I
behavioral
need
health.
therapy. Shoot.
We have girl, we don't call our therapists. We have to call them our consultants,
Mm-hmm.
and we have consults with them because after working with crazy cases all day, sometimes I'm like, I can't talk to my mom about it. I can't talk to my friends about it because ethical guidelines. Who
Right.
can I talk to?
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is, a lot of the artists that I work with personally, girl, they got a lot of trauma that they just smoke weed to forget about.
Or perks. I've got a lot of artists that are. Oh my gosh!
To know somebody,
Some of the stories, like one of the artists that I work with right now,
baby.
2 years ago, his sister got shot. His 15-year-old sister got shot in
Oh,
front of him. I know. It's awful. It's terrible.
whew, okay. And we're gonna start winding down because I know you have to study, and guess what? I
Hmm.
really do too.
I know, right? I do.
But let's wind down and talk about what's next. We know that you're in school, and we know that you are going to become Doctor Roots Queen. I'm gonna go and proclaim it.
Proclaim it, yes.
Other than being my special friend,
Uh-huh.
what's next?
Well, the work that I do for the label, really, Rugo Radio and working my records with my label, to be honest, it has been such a blessing during the pandemic to be able to throw myself into my radio show. I took a few years off of doing radio. I didn't take years off of Rugo Radio though. What I did was I started creating monetized mixtapes, Rugo Radio Volume 1, 2, and 3. We broke artists on there, like Mulatto, for example. But the main thing about it though is that basically my manager is also my husband, and he built a studio for me. So we have our own studio. So that's why we were able to keep grinding during the pandemic, was because we
Because
had
you
our own
don't
studio in our
go
own space and we
out.
could do everything virtually. And really
Yeah.
doing everything virtually has really helped because it's like now I can tap in all of these different artists, and it doesn't have to be live guests, and they're from like all around the country. Like right now I'm working with so many artists in the DMV. I'll give you guys a sneak preview. um,
Okay.
on next Thursday I have Big Flock coming in on my show. I know you know Big Flock, so from DC. Yeah.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. And
Yeah.
wait till you see the interview. It's so cute. I asked him what his tattoos on his face mean. And I don't even judge people. You know, it's a different time. I'm not one of those people like, oh, you shouldn't tattoo your face up or anything like that. It is a different time and a
I
place.
know that's right, honey, because God knows I'm tatted up.
Yeah, exactly. And I just asked him another one of the questions I'm going to let him answer. Another one of the questions I asked him is, if you are out in these streets, what is the biggest thing that you can do to protect yourself? That's what I said. You know,
Wow. That's for the sneak peek. I love it.
yeah, but that's what I'm talking about, is gaining the perspectives and being supportive and not being the person that's going to get up there and judge these people. And it's not just white people that do it. White and black people judge these young men. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what kind of life and upbringing that these people had growing up and what they had to go through. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them lost their parents really early, and it's just a cultural thing. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, it's a cultural thing, you know?
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Look, you know what? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This has been spectacular. And you know what's crazy?
Mm-hmm.
I moved my computer to a different location, my desk, because when I moved it closer to the corner, it seemed like a lot of the videos were breaking up and stuff.
Gotta get
But
closer.
you're the first interview that I've done back in my new location, and this was perfect. But I think it was more or less because the content was perfect.
Yeah, the energy and the content. I'm in my room right now, so see.
Girl, look, I'm already about to ask you about the headboard. So,
Oh
yeah.
yes, I got this for Mother's Day.
Really? Did that come from Wayfair?
Yeah, no. It was
That would be like,
we bought it off the Nextdoor app. People sell furniture on the Nextdoor app for great deals. So
okay, so when we get
one of these
off.
gentrifiers around here was selling it. So
Oh my gosh, this is just I don't I'm elated, And guys, once again, if you're just checking in, we're signing out, but this is prime time, and I have been rocking it out with DJ Roots Queen, who hails from Tampa, Florida, currently in Atlanta, Georgia, but she is not in Atlanta. She is a global influence, and I'm so glad that you took time out of your busy schedule to sit down with me and allow me to learn and absorb so much from someone who truly knocked the damn door down and has truly made a household name for herself and for the young ladies that come behind you. And for that, I am honored and forever grateful.
oh yeah, I'm not trying to be a hater. I'm trying to make sure that these young girls that are coming around, they don't have to deal with the same type of stuff that I dealt with. Because the era that I grew up with was R. Kelly, and people did not protect young women and women under 18 then.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No,
So
absolutely.
I don't even want to get into the trauma from that. And then it's like you are so brainwashed that you don't even realize that this is wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like you think that oh my God, this 26-year-old guy is hollering at me. You didn't realize that he was a predator and he was wrong. You know what I'm saying?
And I think that the culture, when do we infiltrate the culture with something
You
different?
have to. I know you have to. What you have to do is you have to teach young women that is illegal and wrong. People did not incorporate that and teach us that back then. So it's literally you have to teach young women to love themselves and to
I
wait.
was just thinking it, and
Mhm.
you said it.
Mhm.
Love you guys. You know what? That's how we're gonna close it out.
Mhm.
We're down for the cause, but love yourself first. Because until you love yourself, you can't be passionate about the cause and loving anybody else.
Mhm.
And I think that's how we can close it out. DJ Ruth Queen, thank you so much. This is
Thank
not
you, Jimmy.
the end. This is the beginning. I look forward to many more conversations. If there's anything that we can do for Rude Girl Radio or just for Ann,
Okay.
please, by all means, let us know.
I'm gonna send you my EPK.
I, I
So we
got it.
cool.
I got
Yeah.
it.
Okay. I got a new EPK for just for the radio show. I'll send it to you.
No, you better send it over
I
because
sure
I have the
will.
other one.
Oh yeah, that's just my personal EPK. No, I've got my. Oh, I didn't even send you my EPK.
Oh my gosh,
This is my
okay,
Bible stuff. Yeah. Wait, it
okay.
might have been in there. The EPK might.
That'll be a session. That'll be a session one conversation.
Yeah. I literally just got a brand new EPK made. So literally, everything is about digital. Make sure that you craft your perfect digital image online. Be careful what you say out here. If you was out there, this is for Atlanta. If you was out there looting, and if you did do something crazy, don't post about it on social media. Keep it to yourself because I promise you, it will come back and bite you.
Thank you. That part.
Yes.
That part.
Yeah.
That part. So, DJ Recording, once again, thank you so much. What I'm going to do is I am going to hold you backstage, so don't you leave, and I'm
Okay.
going to close out.
Okay.
All right, guys. Once again, we were just rocking it out. Prime time with DJ Roots Queen, and that's it. Y'all know if I don't have anything else to say, it's because my soul is happy. And today, along with DJ Roots Queen, we leave you with joy, jewels, and justice. Have a spectacular Saturday, ladies and gentlemen.